Standard Time.
We are heading live to YouTube. We are still backstage here with AbilityMKE Now. So stand by. Welcome to AbilityMKE Now on River West Radio. AbilityMKE Now is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities, and here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own or with people we know or people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. I am so excited to be here and bring some new friends into the show here. So my name is Sue Roskoff. As always, we have Kurt Roskoff here as well, but you know what? Before we go any further, I want to just give a little sneak peek at a new friend that I would like to introduce you to. So Misty Hankel is coming to us live from Australia. So not just down the road. We are like a long ways away tonight, and I'm loving it. So Misty is a sales trainer and a networking teacher in Australia. She hosts a business at breakfast event that took place just about 2 hours ago, I believe, or maybe a little less than that, and actually highlighted Kurt during that event tonight as well. So this is kind of a fun, in my mind, seems like kind of a swapping here going on, where she got to host Kurt and a whole bunch of people tonight, and well, morning for her. And we are privileged to have her joining us tonight. And before she comes on, though, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Denise Vargas, who is no stranger to this show. She is joining us tonight, and I'm going to pass on the baton to her so that she can do a little bit more introduction, both of herself and of Misty, and then we'll bring Misty in. So, Diva, over to you.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, Milwaukee, all the way from New York. Yeah, so I love being on the show. I love meeting all your new guests. And yeah, so Misty, let me tell you about Misty. First of all, you can't see her, but she's got this amazing crown on because she is the queen of sales. She trains you so well. You know, this is thing called sales that we know we gotta do, but we just don't like doing it, right? She tells you how to do it. So it's flawless, and you actually enjoy doing the thing that you know you need to do in order to grow your business. So yeah, she's definitely the queen of sales. She's taught me so many awesome tricks of the trade. So I am looking forward to hearing some more nuggets from her.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Diva. And Misty, we're going to go ahead and bring you on in here to join the party. So glad you're joining us tonight. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. This is really exciting. I haven't been out here and yes, a radio station. I don't get on radio stations very often. So no one can see me here. I'm here in my crown because sometimes it's just nice to wear it.
Well, I know Kurt wears his cape very often, so it all kind of goes hand in hand.
I know, right? Just because you can't see it doesn't mean you're not a magician.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit more about you and what you all do.
Okay, so I'm a sales trainer, so I get to help people improve their sales. I just teach them how to speak more about what it is that they do. I do find it interesting. Denise said, how to not hate it more, how to hate it less, right? I do find it interesting in regards to sales that most people do hate it. And I wonder, how did that come about? And it really came about like this, I believe, is that one person once, like a wives' tale, one person once said, I hate that sales thing. Nobody likes a salesman. I don't have a gift of the gab. And then everyone took it as real. And then so now from there, we all think that this sales thing is really bad. But as shoppers, we shop really easily. Like I ask people all the time, how do you buy groceries? Or how is it when you went to the store to buy one thing, you end up with, a shopping bag of stuff, but that wasn't your intention. It was just milk, right? And a shopping bag of stuff. And you're standing there going, how did this happen? Here's how it happened. The stuff stood silently on a shelf with their price, and we customers did the rest. And so really that's all that sales is. So I get to have fun teaching really simple ways to look at selling to people. So yeah, it's good fun. And there's nothing that we're not selling, right? You want to go on a holiday, you want the kids to vacuum the house, you want the kids to vacuum the house without yelling at you first. You want them to eat the meal that you cooked. You want them to eat the meal that you cooked on the plate that you gave them, even though it's not their original color. Like,
Oh
but
yeah.
speaking of disabilities, I say all the time I'm socially disabled when I can't speak about work. Like I literally go out and go, I'm like socially retarded when I go out to social occasions because I will just talk about work and what are you doing? What are you doing? I get caught up in the whole work thing and what everyone's doing. And the poor people that are stuck next to me are like sitting in the corner, like pressed against the corner, having to talk about their work all the time. And that's my bit. That's what I talk about. Whereas, the other things, it's like I tend to forget to ask, do you have a family? And what are you doing at Christmas? And I forget all of those other apparent normal things that most people speak about. So, disabilities can cover many, many aspects of for everybody.
Well, and I'm hearing a lot about that power of persuasion. And I, it hits home with a lot of us when you say even about what we're having for supper or talking the kids into vacuuming or it goes beyond the thought of my job is a salesperson. That's not necessarily what we all relate to, but there's so many practical things that literally all of us can relate to.
It's funny when people say I'm not a born salesman, then they pull out pretty much a 21-point sales slide, like, PowerPoint of why they're not. Okay, you're trying to sell that to me now? But the truth is we're all born as salesmen, and I'm waiting for someone to correct me if they believe I'm wrong. But in my view is we were born, we cried, mum came running. I mean, sales doesn't get easier than that.
This is true.
And the whole house dropped everything to do what the baby needed. Like, it's not much simpler than that. Just over time, we become bad at it. And I believe it's the word no. The word no teaches us the opposite of who we are in sales. Is we're taught that no means no, because that's what you're told, right? At the supermarket. When we go out, don't ask for anything, don't ask for chocolate. I'm only getting the groceries. That's it. No means no. How many times do I have to tell you no means no? But the truth is no doesn't mean no. It just means no for right now. There's always the chance you'll change your mind if I yell louder than you. It's not exactly that. I know I went through a year with the boys when they were little, and I said to Simon, like really little, we're looking at like 3 and 4, and I said, so we're not going to say no to the boys. Like for the whole year, we're not going to say no because I don't want to teach them that no means no. Because later they'll get a job when they're 16, and first customer will say no, and then they'll think that no means no, and then they'll go, well, this is too hard, and now I can't do it. So I said, so we're not going to teach them that no means no. I said, so we can't say no, but then we have to come up with something else. But we're not saying yes. See, people think that the opposite to no is yes. It's not. So we started to say, like I would say things like this: well, sell it to me. Like if I give you a chocolate, right, or a piece of candy to have after dinner, right, you only get one. So we have what's here. They're called Freddo frogs, and it's a chocolate frog, right? Good size for a kid, right? You can only have one. That's it. Don't ask for another one, right? That's all you need, boys. And they're little, right? And of course, they love it so much they come asking for another one, right? So then I would start to say, well, sell it to me. So tell me, why do you need another one? I mean, truth be told, right? And eventually, because as a parent, you're going to give them that other chocolate, right? because
Break
they're
you down,
going to
right?
they're going to break you down. The truth is they haven't broken down. I say to the boys, I changed my mind. I've changed my mind because it's easier than you breaking me down. Change my mind. And even to this day, the boys are now 12 and 13, and they say, do you think there's a chance you could change your mind? What do we have to do to change your mind? So even they now start to look at life slightly different. On other occasions, moving forward now as they get bigger, no means no. But like when I say no, I mean it this time. And they've gone, Mum doesn't say no all that often. Maybe we should pay attention to this one. So it has given me that ability to lay down rules on different areas later by not saying no initially. But they were getting really good at sales. So, and I'd look at it like this. They'd sell the story of the chocolate about how delicious it is. And I think if someone was withholding chocolate from me, I'd be running the same lines, right? But I'd be running them even harder. So look, I've changed my mind. Go and have it. Hell, let's just eat it all together. And I have the same argument with one of my golden retrievers as well. He likes chocolate. Everybody does, but he likes chocolate. And dogs you're not supposed to give chocolate to. And so I'll have all the pet people say, but every now and then, Terry and I look at the block and say, I can give you like one piece. It's not 3 kilos, so I can give you one piece. But Terry, I might be shortening your life from 12 years to 10 years. On the other hand, you run free and chase kangaroos. You might be shortening your own life. We should probably just enjoy the peace and move on with the day. So there's ways, even the look on Terry's face, there's ways that we all sell things and we all explain it a particular way. So sales is a life skill. And so that's kind of how I teach it. What you learn for work, though, it becomes a life skill for everything, to get your way or get out of it if you don't want to do it. I mean, if you sell yourself poorly on purpose, because you don't want to do something, you can sell yourself poorly on purpose and they go, you know what, actually, it's not you that I'm after. Oh, that's a shame. So you can sell it either way.
Excellent. Well, I do want to ask you a little bit about the event you had earlier today. So tell me a little bit more about this event that you do, because I know it was well attended. When I look at the Zoom screen and I see a full screen of faces, that's amazing. So tell us a little bit more about this event.
Pretty exciting. So the group is called Business at Breakfast, and it's a free online networking group. And so it initially started in Canberra, which is the capital of Australia. That's where I was living, right? So it initially started in Canberra back 2015 it started, 2016 I started, 2017 changed the rules. All right, so here's the lifeline of it, right? So back in 2015, where I lived, we had BNI chapters. So for those who don't know, it's a Business Networking International group, right? So I had 5 BNI chapters in my city, right? And I had joined BNI and I was just learning. 3 of them ended up closing because they didn't have enough attendance to their meeting. So 3 of them closed. But a lot of the people still wanted to network. But because of the rules around BNI with 1 person per category, they couldn't get into another chapter. And there was a lot of people that were sort of, and they couldn't all go together and then create the one to make up all the extra people. However that happened. Anyhow, when their chapter closed, they thought, well, we'll start our own group based off similar rules, but we'll do it for free. And it'll be so easy to get people out networking. So that first year, they had 17 people and that went out, right? And they were pretty regular, right? The next year, something happened and I had retired from my chapter due to a timing issue with Simon. And then when I went to go back, one of the guys from Business at Breakfast said, before you go across, could you just jump into Business at Breakfast before you go back to BNI and teach us how to grow? Because I know you know how to do this. He said, but we're struggling. I said, we've got 17 people, had that all year long. We've never been able to get it more than that. I mean, it's pretty simple. If we all brought in 1 person each and got them to stay, it's free. Got them to stay, we'd have 34. Why is this so hard? And I already knew why. There's many things as to why growing groups is hard, but a lot of it is most people aren't used to visitors. And so when a visitor comes into a group, the members go, oh my God. And you can't see me on the radio, but I'm leaning right in, right over the top, oh my God, I'm so excited. There's a new person. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So you get very excited by that. And of course, the new person leans all the way back going, oh my God, what have I just walked into? right? So dealing with strangers is very difficult if you're not used to dealing with strangers. I call it dealing with strangers, visitors. Is that if you're not used to dealing with strangers, you tend to sit over them, and then they tend to be backing out the door. So that's like one reason why. Others is, they don't go out and ask enough people. They said, it's free, so how hard is it for other people to join? I said, you paid your dues and didn't turn up very often. Why would someone who's not paying anything turn up? So, if you couldn't run the initial rules, they're not going to be so easy to run the second time either. But from there, I joined in 2016, and I taught them how to get used to strangers. So I said, you don't invite anyone. I won't give you that rule. I'll invite everybody, and you're going to get used to meeting brand new people every week, that you're eventually just going to go, it's another new person. It's another new person. Then when you become relaxed, they become relaxed. We'll see what happens. And then after that, the rule I changed was any person could join. It didn't matter how many categories, the same person of each category. It's about meeting the most amount of people you can. So the goal is to meet 500 people each year and to have 500 out. And so we did that face to face for a long time. We used to get 45 people live in a cafe. We were the only ones in the cafe who were allowed to order our own breakfast, and like whatever it was, there was no set menu. You go order your own, and then they bring it in while we're in the middle of the meeting. And they've gone, but this is the only group that brings this many people in. Everybody else has to follow a set menu because they don't bring enough in. And so a lot of it comes to reminding the same people to come back out the next week. We're here this week, make sure you come out, come out tomorrow. And then COVID hit and it all went online. So what used to be 7 o'clock in the morning became 10 o'clock because the other people I volunteered with said, let's be more civilized. So the 10 o'clock meeting was born, and it was a whole new batch of people, because now it's good for mums in business. Because before, mums were getting kids ready for school, but now it's mums in business could do this. And but then the other ones that needed work done early, they're like, but I'm used to the early stuff. So then 2 meetings came about. COVID went away, like, on and off, went away. Everything opened up for everyone to go back out face to face. But I couldn't, because I'd been at HMP that's all international, and I was meeting all these people. And then I'm like, people in Sydney and people in Melbourne and people all over the place. I'd opened it up to everybody, so much to everybody. I've gone, well, I'll have to stay online. And as a result, the other ones, they went to reopen face to face. It wasn't quite the same. And then, so Business at Breakfast has been online for, I don't know, 4 years now. And it's interesting, the goal is to keep increasing the numbers. And so we get this huge turnover of people over the years that come through. I've had up to 350 in a year across the 2 meetings, but it's average about 20 to 25 per meeting, or maybe let's say 20 per meeting. What happened to all the others? Where did they go? They came out, but where did they go, But you don't realize how many meetings you have. I mean, over the course of the year, 2 meetings, it's 100 meetings. It's only 3 different people per each meeting. There's 300. So it's, across a lot of meetings, you get to meet a lot of people. And but working hard on numbers to increase people. So normally I just have the stats and everything, but I mean, you girls can see it because we're on screen together, but the radio cart behind me, I have a wall of a tree, and it's got all these post-it notes all over it, right? And they're all different colors depending on what each one of those post-it notes mean. But the networking group, Business at Breakfast, is has blue tickets, because the branding is blue, has blue tickets. Every person that turns up gets a blue ticket and goes on the tree. And so this tree has been growing over the last 8 weeks. And I said, maybe that's why we haven't had 500 yet, is we can't see it. Collectively, we can't see it. Now people go, oh, I need to get on your tree. And now that I'm on your tree, I need to show that I'm here and then show up more. So it's now growing and growing. But in regards to Kurt, we had, I don't know, 27, 28, 29 come out today for that meeting. And in regards to Kurt, I had Kurt and Emily on as the speaker. I know their ability to draw a crowd. Like, I've been networking with them for 4 years. And I know when then Kurt turns up and Emily turns up, everyone goes, oh, I know Kurt and Emily. And I've gone, goodness. And it was their turn. Like, they've been coming in for a number of weeks, and it was their turn. And, it's how to take advantage of the people in your group is you speak, we get bigger crowd. And then I get to post out. But then when you speak, I get to post that out and tell more people and tell your story. And it was really nice to hear, to be reminded of the history of how the Disability Channel and all of this came about in the first place. And I know that people left going, oh, I didn't realize that. I know he does a lot of stuff, but I don't understand. You don't know that you're missing that history story because you don't get it in elevator pitch. But in a presentation, you get that history of how it came about. So yeah, I have no idea if I've answered the question, but that's business at breakfast. People get to come out, do their elevator pitch, everyone gets to do it together. Everybody's excited and the visitors say, God, it's like I've always been here. They're so friendly. Yes, only the friendliest people in the world stay. And then I get to highlight, where you have the radio channel, I get to highlight people every week, and get them to tell us more the history of how they came about doing what they're doing. And it endears us to them as to why we would pick them and not go to someone else who does something similar. This is good.
Excellent. So I know, like you said, you with having Kurt and Emily talking earlier tonight, or I say tonight, for you it's this morning. I love this.
But it's all the same. It's the same in mine. I've gotten used to it.
So with all that, I know they were talking about different topics that are around disability. How was it received? How did the crowd receive what they said versus how other topics that you've had with other speakers coming in? Was it a different flavor? Was it
I have to say, networkers are used to it now. I know that I've found, like, over the years, well, I've gone from networking starting 12 years ago where it was predominantly men, and I was one of the few girls, right, that would come out, and it was all more the business groups, like accountants, lawyers, financial planners. Like, it's the traditional business, real estate agents, to more entrepreneurial now. When I first started getting women to come out, I was like, oh, you do something great, you should come out. Like, they'd come out, but they'd disappear. Then they started coming out. They'd swamp the men and it wasn't because more women were coming out. It was just that more women stayed out. Because then when they had somebody that was like, no, you should come out, like, I'm out every week and I'm like the only girl. So, you just have to learn how to get around these things. And then, but then the men started to get a bit anxious and they wandered away for a bit. The business ones, the traditional business ones, because it's the younger group of, accountants come out and they go, I don't understand how networking, what, talking to someone actually gets you clients? I don't understand any of that. So it's interesting to watch this fold of things different. So over time, I've had a lot of people come out that might be, it's heavily disability, most in this, over here in Australia, falls into the autism realm or the autism spectrum realm more than anything else. And because we're online, like, it tends to fall into that. So then it took a while. We got used to that. Oh, that person helps on the autism spectrum, and then that one helps, and then that one helps, and then someone else might say Down syndrome, and then so you start to know of these disabilities that way. And then it was interesting, or I don't know the words, like interesting. It was a great reminder when Kurt came in to speak and he had his videos up and he said, we help people with disabilities. It's about water skiing, right? And then there was a picture of you helping someone who was sitting in a chair and water skiing, and you were on one side and someone was on the other side. And I've gone, oh. And it was to see a visual of all other disabilities as well, is you don't realize that you're stuck in a particular view of people when you're on screen, because you're not used to seeing that. And I work from home and Simon works from home, and we moved from a city to the country, and I get out and about. It's a small town though, so you don't see. I hear more of the children at school, like with difficulties in learning. It's the difficulties in learning disabilities I hear about, but then I don't see the physical side as much, because I just don't, because I may not be, but it's reminded me that I'm not out and about as much when you do a lot of stuff online as well. So that was a nice reminder from my end. The group is on a whole is more like, oh, what can we do to help out? Now, here becomes a problem. That becomes the side of people when we heard things like this from Kurt is, and I wanted a Q&A, like, ask Kurt anything type thing, is what can we do to help out? But then the question becomes, can Kurt answer that question? He says, well, we do lots of things. Okay, that's not answering though. So it becomes an interesting way on how to practice saying, here, I need help here, or I need help here, or you live this far away, so we might need it on the podcast, or we've got this event that's happening live in Milwaukee. Can you post it up somewhere? And, or, so it's actually listening. I found it interesting to listen to people going, how can we help? But they need direct answers. When your network is asking, seriously, how can I help? They don't want more ideas. I find this with volunteers. This is volunteers the world over, though, right? I met a guy years ago. I was at a big race thing in Canberra, and there was an old guy there. He was about, I don't know, 75, 80. I don't know how old he was. But anyhow, I was talking to him. He was a volunteer for a group that rebuilding a steam train and would take people on steam train rides out of town and back, right? Very old school. And of course, he dresses as a conductor, so we call him our conductor, right? And I'm like, oh, wow, how come I don't know about it? Why have I never heard of it from networking? How about this? And so telling him this is how you need to get the word out. And then what I've discovered from going there is volunteers are really good at volunteering and keeping quiet what it is that they're doing, but not very good at saying what they're doing to elicit more volunteers, because they just go quietly about doing their thing. So, of course, when the question becomes from everyone who's not a volunteer is like, how can I help? The volunteer doesn't know how to give them the information directly. Well, there's heaps of ways you can help. Rotary says the same thing. Well, there's heaps of ways that you can help. Yeah, no, I need you to tell me. Or they'll say, see, people don't have time to volunteer anymore. And I explain, it's not that we don't have time. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I've got 2 golden retrievers. I run these business groups. I run sales classes. Like I have all these people. It's not that I don't have time to volunteer. I don't have time to make up which component I'm going to volunteer in. But I do have time to follow instructions. You tell me what you need and I can do it. And there's one less thing I have to think about this today. We make thousands of decisions every day. So what's important, so heading back and around, the crowd was very forthcoming in that, oh, this sounds really good. But the other side becomes, no, seriously, pick some things that someone can help out in, because we can't make it up ourselves, even though you help. Our imagination doesn't stretch to make it up ourselves, because you are in that community. You've already made it up. Just give me a job. So the crowd received it well and is thoughtful in regards to it.
Excellent. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. And Denise, I know you were part of the meeting as well. I wonder if you wanted to reflect on what all happened, or what would you like to add at this point too?
Well, actually, I just want to, what Missy was just saying, just let them know what you can do. And how I said that they can help is, hey, if you know an entrepreneur or business owner that has a disability, go ahead and support them, right? You got to buy it anyway. Go ahead and support them. Are they a grocer? Do they make blankets? Are they a crafter? Do they sell cosmetics? Buy from them, right? Support them, help them grow.
It's such an easy way. And that direct piece of information that Denise gave. I mean, if somebody's crocheting a blanket and you need a blanket, buy that one from the person with a disability who's sitting there crocheting a blanket, right? But what's the offshoot of that is, this is who I got it from. This is a story around the blanket. This is how it all came about. Oh, let me post it up on Facebook. Let me tell everybody and this person. And so it's really, your message is really about just getting the message out there that I hired someone and that someone's available and this person was there. And really, yes, Denise, yours was great because you gave us direct information that we know, but we don't know. We know, but we know at the back of our head, and oh yeah, you've just put that at the front of my head. That's what I should hunt down,
Mm-hmm.
And really that's where it all starts. Because it's our stories on that thing that ends up helping more moving forward. It's the ripple effect.
And really, that sums up a big piece of what Ability MKE Now is all about, is to bring those thoughts to the forefront and to be able to have the conversation around that so that we all can relate and connect in that way. So, Misty, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Denise, always so good to have you here as well. And for all of us with Ability MKE Now, we thank you.
I really